I'm not sure if people realize this, but in Tookaville, O-Block, 600, MOB, No Limit, I mean, it's a lot of neighborhoods in Chicago that came famous because of the drill culture. I tell people St. Lawrence is one of those neighborhoods, community, couple of block areas. Uh, that block took a lot of losses. 63rd has became famous, and it always been like that. But you gotta understand, that shit is just to the point where I'm not sure if people realize, but it's a lot of young men that lost their life in that area. It's 3 people with FBG in their name, from Doug, Cash, Brick, lost their life due to gun violence. I mean, if you want to add like the Taekwondo Real members and all that, I mean, we can sit here and list over 10 people who we knew on the internet who are no longer here, including O-Block. These neighborhoods became so famous that, you know, the Chicago Sun-Times, one of the most respectable newspapers in the world, has done documentaries on KI. That's a young lady from that 63rd Eberhard area. They did a documentary on this lady as like she was a serial killer. Drake noticed a rapper a couple blocks down on 600. Just think about that. And it ain't like he noticed these guys because they had platinum records or they had hit records that was in the club. It's because these songs talked about real gritty street life. So many people has died. That's why I say, people don't realize Duck was in beef with one of the most famous rappers, KingVon. KingVon lost his life in Atlanta. KingVon is a rapper who was beefing with people who made the slogan "Not from 63rd" famous. You see Dirk with all his homeboys, with Gilly the Kid, and they doing that podcast, $1 million worth of game. They rapping a verse about Dooski. NBA young boy shouting out Dooski. Dooski is not a famous NBA basketball player, and people know him. Millions of people in the world, but somehow the cameras gravitated to these people. I never understood how that happened, but the culture in Chicago is deep. I tell people that it ain't got to the point now where everybody telling their own stories, and one thing though I can say that I noticed, that I think that's dope, that rappers are to the point where they telling their own stories. They not letting people that's in basements give out their narrative. They gonna give it out themselves. I think that's dope that a lot of people are starting to blog and tell their stories, but I do think, as being a rapper, you got to be honest and you got to be transparent. So we see a lot of bloggers doing that, but I do think that can get dangerous though, because it can be dangerous. Remember, this is a rap game and it's competitive, and the enemies don't really like you speaking on them. And, this can be dangerous, this new wave of what I'm seeing, but I do think this is dope, because I tell people this here, the internet is filled with a bunch of fake stories. So you wouldn't love to get it from the horse's mouth. That's what the world is about. That's what the internet is turning into. People want to know about your temperament. But I always felt like St. Lawrence could be a movie. So many of them young men has lost their life. It's some of them people who are responsible for the drill culture, the dissing, the rapping, all that shit. That's why I want to ask y'all the question. I want y'all to be honest with me. You notice all these neighborhoods that lost their life due to this rap violence, due a lot of this gun shit. These neighborhoods became famous. Do you think rap tore these neighborhoods up? Do you think drill rap tore these neighborhoods up, or they were already tore up in the internet and the cameras let the world see it? I'd love to know what you think. Drop a comment or something.